You're listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Friday the 7th of November, 2025. It is 46 days after the fall equinox. It is 44 days before the winter solstice. By the French Republican calendar, it is the 17th day of Brumaire, the day of the cresson, the watercress. The sun rises today at 6:34 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 11:39 a.m. The sun sets today at 4:45 p.m. Civil twilight ends at 5:14 p.m. and nautical twilight ends at 5:46 p.m. The length of daytime today is 2 minutes, 14 seconds shorter than yesterday. The moon is in its waning gibbous phase and is 99% full at midday. The third quarter will arrive on Wednesday, the 12th of November. These are the predicted tides today for Horn's Hook. In the wee hours, low tide, 4:41 a.m., 0 centimeters. In the morning, high tide, 11:10 a.m., 1 meter 98. In the evening, low tide, 5:29 p.m., minus 12 centimeters. At night, high tide, 11:47 p.m., 1 meter 55. In our shared realm of plants and animals, according to the Cornell Lab Nest Watch, the numbers of red-tailed hawks nesting and successfully raising their young in the city has been steadily increasing. The hawks often use human infrastructure to support their nests. There's at least one in Astoria Park, built under the roadway of the Triborough Bridge. Another nesting pair has been reported on Randall's Island on the other side of Hell Gate. But perhaps the most delightful nesting site is on the Unisphere in Corona Flushing Meadows Park. The Unisphere is that massive steel globe left over from the 1964 World's Fair. The red-tailed hawks enjoy a nest high above the ground, right upon the equator of the globe. From their raised eyrie, they have a perfect view of the park, full of squirrels, smaller birds, and yes, rats, to dine on. Commemorations. On this day in 1929, the Museum of Modern Art first opened its doors. It was the brainchild of Abby Aldrich Rockefeller and two of her friends, Lily P. Bliss and Mary Quinn Sullivan. Its first galleries were in rented quarters on the 12th floor of the Heckscher Building at 730 Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. Alfred Barr was its first director. It was the first museum in the United States to feature European modernism, and in the post-war years would become a dominant cultural force and tastemaker. On this day in 1933, Fiorello LaGuardia was elected the 99th mayor of New York City. He would serve until 1946. He came into office at the height of the Great Depression, and in many ways shaped the city we live in today. He once said, "Only a well-fed, well-housed, well-schooled people can enjoy the blessings of liberty." He also had enough humility to say, "When I make a mistake, it's a beaut." Like our next mayor, Zoran Mamdani, he spoke many languages, being certified as an interpreter for Italian, German, Yiddish, and Croatian. A polyglot mayor in a great polyglot city. Cautionary tales. On this day in 1940, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge in Washington State collapsed in a windstorm. It was a steel suspension bridge, very elegant and narrow in design. Its chief engineer, Leon Moiseeff, had worked on both the Manhattan and Golden Gate bridges. At Tacoma Narrows, he was able to realize his ideal bridge structure. But bridge engineers of his time were not well versed in the effects of wind on their structures. Just 4 months after it opened, strong sustained winds began to make the roadbed sway. Eventually, the roadbed sheared off its cables and came crashing down. The collapse was captured on film and has been used to train engineers ever since. A poignant anniversary. On this day in 1967, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Public Broadcasting Act. It established the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. For 57 years, it funded educational programming and provided an alternative to commercial television. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting closed in July this year when the current Congress zeroed out its funding. On this day in 1973, Congress overrode President Richard Nixon's veto of the War Powers Resolution. It reasserted the Congress's constitutional responsibility to declare war and limited presidential power to commit the armed forces to wage war. And that is the Observatory, Friday the 7th of November, 2025.